Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining me on another episode and IGTV live from T Junction Show and Mr. T right here. It is Knowledge Week this week, and what a fantastic week! What a fantastic topic and a fantastic theme. So much to talk about, and obviously a huge topic. And I've got a very, very special guest this evening who is joining me to have a chat about this wonderful topic that is knowledge. I'd like to welcome Naji Fakhouri. Coach Naji, thank you for joining me, and UC99 from all the way from Saudi Arabia. Thank you for joining me. And Bogdan, my guest, is actually online now. I'm going to invite him straight in. Wissam Majzoub, thank you for joining. And let's get on with it. Okay, I can't see my guest. I'll try again. Yes, there he is. And invited him in. Let's get to it straight away. Hope everybody is doing fine. I'm back with IGTV Live. I was out last week just taking a little break, and here he is, Mr. Bogdan Micov. Hello and good evening to you from Mr. T and the T Junction Show.
Hello, Mr. T. It was a while, no?
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Bogdan, for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, Bogdan is a very dear friend. He's a close friend. And we have done this training, NLP training and coaching together. And he is doing amazingly well. And I have chose him in particular for this topic, which is knowledge, because I know that there are certain things that he loves to talk about in this particular topic. Today is, just to remind everybody, Bogdan, today is Friday the 13th. Ooh. However, yes, it doesn't relate to us. We're not thinking about that. It's going to be a fantastic IGTV Live. It's not spooky in any way, guys. And I'm so excited about this. And I'd like to welcome Ma'moon, Eid, Nicholas. Thank you for joining us. And we already have quite a few people online, Bogdan, which is great. I've already started saying hello to everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I'm not going to talk a lot and introduce Bogdan. I will allow him to do that himself. So if you would like to shoot off straight away, Bogdan, and just tell us a few things about yourself very quickly, very briefly. What are you doing now? How did you get into coaching? And before we dive into our topic, which is knowledge.
What I'm doing now? Oh, I do many things. Yes, I'm in the field of coaching as well, a part of many other things, especially more, as you mentioned, with NLP coaching, mindset, and peak performance coaching. But my biggest intention and my biggest attention is on sales coaching, most of it, as I have been very curious all my life about the human behavior and why we do what we do, how we do. And then I realized that actually sales are all around us. Every day we sell ourselves to something, or maybe we'll sell or buy our stories by ourselves. So sales is a very broad topic, but it's all around us. As I say, like a joke many times, you need even to sell yourself to your spouse if you want to get laid. So
That's a good one.
It is absolutely, sales are absolutely everything around us, and it is driving all the economies, all the things, all the events that are going around us. Shortly said, is that.
Excellent. So how do you see coaching or the world of NLP that we took helping you in achieving what you are doing now, or helping others in achieving success through sales? We're going to tap into some details later on, but just very quickly, has coaching helped you in sort of delivering a lot more when it comes to coaching on sales?
Absolutely. First, with the courses and with the education that we have had, especially when it's about neuro-linguistic programming, the NLP or neuro-linguistic programming says easy. It said neuro-linguistic, which means it's going to use the language, and the language is one of the forms of our communication. And communication is absolutely crucial if you want to sell a product or a service or whatever you're trying to sell. But at the same time, the whole communication, if it's 100%, 90% of the communication is non-verbal communication, which NLP is very deep into it, especially by measuring sensory acuity, IQs, and many other things that are going to help salesperson or sales representative to deliver the sale to the prospect. At the same time, the prospects many times they cannot understand what type of real problem they have. So having the knowledge of NLP, it helps you to understand their needs. It helps you to understand their values. It helps them understand them what they like better. So in order for you to serve them, not just to sell them and to take their money, but in order to serve them, to give them what they really need and want. So I would absolutely say that neuro-linguistic programming, it is something that helps with the sales as well. From the other side, one of the techniques that I'm using in my sales mentoring in this, it is neuro-emotional questioning, which is not a pitching, which is not a pushing a product, which is nothing else but neuro-emotional persuasive questioning, which is through asking the right question to your prospect, you and him to understand what is the best solution for them, if you're selling a service or any product.
Excellent. We're gonna I think dwell a little bit more into the details and how successful, I think, and I know for sure that you have been scoring some really good success with a lot of your clients, and we will talk about that when we talk about knowledge and success and the importance and the relation between what you're doing and knowledge, which is our topic for today. Again, huge topic, huge theme, as with all my other themes that I do on a weekly basis. I mean, if we start opening this sort of lid over the pot of knowledge, we can talk on about knowledge, I think, for many episodes and many days. However, for the sake of time and in order, I think, to deliver some really strong and important and valuable messages to our audiences here today, I have focused our attention on really three main areas, and I know that you love these areas very much and you have a lot to talk about, and I think important, just like me, important messages that you would like to send on these areas. So these areas are going to be, first of all, and we would like, and I think this relates directly to you because I know that you have a very interesting and very exciting story, which is know yourself. The great and wise philosopher Socrates, long, thousands of years back, have said that those two words, know yourself. So I would like, first of all, from you to try to put this into your own, from your own perspective. How do you see these two words? How important are they? How deep are they? What did actually Socrates mean by these? And are we really knowing ourselves the way that we want to know ourselves, or do we think that we know ourselves? So this is the first area. The second area is the, which I would like us to tap into, is the unknown. People talk about the unknown, which is we don't know what we don't know. So some people refer to it, and us as coaches, we always say this is blissful ignorance, what we call blissful ignorance. And other people are, this is a territory that I don't really want to tap into, or because there is always unfamiliarity about this territory. And always with some people, if something is unfamiliar, that means they don't really want to go there. So we want to talk about that a little bit. And finally, we want to end with acquiring, how can acquiring new knowledge help us in achieving success, which we will tap into more of what you are doing. But let's start first with your story, and from your own perspective, what does know yourself actually means?
You mentioned how deep these two words are. Well, they cannot be deeper, because knowing through ourselves, it is challenging, and it is very deep. Why I'm going to say it's challenging? Many people right now, I have noticed, are going to say, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is who I am since I'm a kid. I cannot change. You cannot change me because this is what I am. But in fact, this is not who we are because this is who we learned to be. This is the knowledge that we gained, and it was given to us since we were babies. Why I'm mentioning this, let's say we're going to talk about you get born and you're a baby, and you don't know absolutely anything apart of joy, happiness, apart of smile on your face, and maybe you cry only when they need to change your diapers while your bum is burning. The moment when they change your diapers, you're again with a massive smile on your face and you're enjoying life. But then you start growing, and then when you start growing, you start developing a little bit of consciousness, and then you start absorbing information from your environment. And then your parents come and they give you a religion. This is just an example in many countries. They give you a religion. So when you grow up, you already know that you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Hindu, you're a Buddhist or whatever. Did you make that choice? No, you didn't, because that was given to you. And because you are so unconscious is that in that moment, you accept that as it is, because it was part of your nest, part of your environment, and part of everything. The same like the example of religion I mentioned is the same with our values, is the same way is how we see the world. Because actually we are kids and we are modeling what we see around us. We're going to model our parents, we're going to model our grandparents, we're going to model our friends, our environment, and we're going to create our personality out of it, which our personality is what we think, what we feel, and what we do. And what we think, what we feel, and what we do is our personality, and actually it's our personal reality. So it's really real for us because all we know is that, because we have been conditioned, we have been programmed, and we have been taught that way, even from the best reasons from our closest environment, but still we say this is who we are. And in fact, we are much more than that. And know yourself, when Socrates said, meant very right. Learn your true self, who you really are. And who you really are is actually who you decide to be, not who you have been trained or learned to be, who you decide to be. So many people will say, I cannot change. That for me is saying, I don't want to change. And
Yes.
I don't want to change. That is a part of, I don't want to change, because this is going to tap a little bit in the second topic about the unknown, because this is our comfort zone and this is what we know already, right? So we need to go in the unknown and to change something that we cannot predict the future. And in that moment, and in that moment, it's like, oh, let me go back in what I know, because this is who I am. And I don't want to change. You need to accept me how you are, how am I. Knowing yourself, it can be very deep, very complicated, but at the same time, it can be very simple thing. And it actually, right, it's not even a thing because it's a choice. It's an element.
Yes.
It's a
yes,
choice.
Exactly.
It's a choice. And knowledge is part of it, because we are gaining knowledge about certain things, certain subjects, certain events, certain values, and certain things outside of us, and which defines in that moment who we are. Are we really that? I wouldn't agree with it.
So, okay, excellent. So I think people think they know who they are, but do they really know who they are? I think this is the question. They think they know. And as you quite rightly mentioned, and we know this, what you think is what you become. So it's all in our mind, it's all in our thoughts. And I think when Socrates said that, it means let us first look at ourselves. Let us go a little bit inside. We always tend to get carried away with what's happening outside and trying to solve the world's problems, and thinking that, if we do that, we can really achieve something or we can reach somewhere. And we forget about ourselves and where actually the process needs to start. This is the starting point, I think, of the process. And when Socrates quite rightly said so, like know thyself or know yourself, this is what he was referring to. Obviously, we weren't with him, so we don't know exactly what he meant about it, but this is what it created, a nice debate, I think, between people, that really, it opened the eyes of people that, do I really know myself? Do I really, or do I think that I know myself? And that's it. So quite rightly, I think from what you mentioned, and I want to know from you, before you attended that training, did you know yourself, or did you think you knew yourself?
To be honest, I thought I knew myself. And I had exactly the same excuse. This is who I am. When someone is going to ask me, why are you behaving this way? Or why are you doing this way? I would say, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I was deadly wrong. I was deadly wrong because that was not who I am. Then I discovered that I'm much more than what I was thinking in that moment who I am, because I was actually only thinking who I am. And unfortunately, that's why we have this type of talk shows, to build the awareness of the people at the same time, because many people actually, they only think who they are and they don't really know who they are and who they meant to be.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So excellent. So I think we've covered that, and what the advice of that I think not the advice, but what we would like to tell to our viewers and to the audiences out there is really dig deep inside and try to know who you truly are, not who you think you are, or not what your beliefs and what your conditioning has defined you to be, as you quite rightly mentioned. And this is where I think our role comes in, when people come to us saying, I feel like, I do things, but that's not really me. I can do much better. I want to change. I want to, become not someone else, but become my true self, Like, I've lost that along the way. And as you mentioned, we were born whole. We were born like this. And that was our true nature. But we seem to have lost that along the way because of the things that we've learned along the way, because of the things that we have accumulated. It's like, I always say, it's like an onion. You start peeling the onion slowly to really get to the core. And this is the core is where love is. It's where happiness is. It's where we find our true essence and our true origins and our true self. So thank you for explaining that. Now, your next best topic is the unknown, which I know that we've touched on it. And what we say sometimes is we don't know what we don't know, which is perfectly fine. Some people try to stress over the fact that they don't know everything that they need to know. I was having a chat with my son about a week ago, and he said, I told him, what are some of the wishes if I were a genie appearing from a lamp, and I granted you like 3 wishes. So it was interesting because one of his wishes he said that, I wish I can know everything that I need to know. So we always, and I recall the time when I was his age, and I think you probably recall that time where you are at that age as a teenager, and you're like, you're filled with energy and excitement and enthusiasm, and you want to explore everything, and you still feel that there is so much that you don't know, where you actually wish that you've known everything that you need to know, so that you can, because to them, this is what success, they know, or they think they know, that if they do this, they will reach their end goal, or they will reach their success. Now, having said that, is that unknown a blissful ignorance, or is it a territory that we should tread carefully, or we should not approach, from your perspective?
I don't know what I don't know. Or from the other side, if you say it, unconscious incompetence. It's something that we need to start everything with, because we truly don't know what we don't know. We don't know what is happening in other people's heads, right? And yet we judge them. We don't know what is going on in their lives, and yet we judge them from their behavior, and maybe we hate them, or we develop gossips or rumors about those people. And then you blame another person, but actually you don't know what you don't know. And if you really understand that you don't know what you don't know, that's you're approaching all the situations with no judgment, no blame. When you approach every situation without judgment and without blame, you're the observer of the situation, and then you are also the chess player that says everything. You're emotionally detached. In that moment, you find an answer, and then in that moment you go interrogation, when you start gaining a knowledge, about certain things that you couldn't see before. So I would approach everything from I don't know what I don't know. Any situation, any problem, result, issue around us, if you approach it from the side of I don't know what you don't know, then you're opening yourself for many possibilities to discover more things that you can even imagine. And this is the first quadrant of the learning process. The first quadrant of the learning process, but it's a must if we really want to learn something and to gain something. And yes, you said it's unknown, but it's a great blissful ignorance that we need to accept in order to change things on better.
Okay. So, if this is what we're saying, that means in order to change and in order to continue to grow, we must actually try to get out of our comfort zone and be able to take that leap into this unknown, because this is where all the excitement is. This is where all the adventure is. This is where I remember our trainer saying, this is where infinite potential lies. So do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. So the unknown is actually the unknown presence, and is the presence of creation. I'm going to explain it a little bit more in details. So let's talk like this. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day in our head, right? And 80% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. So which means today we're going to wake up and you're going to think about the same thoughts and you're going to have the same habits. You're going to wake up and you're going to do your habits, what you are conditioned to do. Brush your teeth, have your cup of coffee, scroll your Instagram, scroll your Facebook, read the news, and completely do what you have been programmed to do. Why we're doing this? Because that's known. That's already comfortable and we know. And why we're doing it? Because we can predict the future. We know what's going to happen one moment after another, but one after another. And that serves us well in certain things. But imagine when you get conditioned in this, for example, when you're full with fears or some other negative emotions or some other limiting beliefs. And the moment when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you think is about the problems that you had yesterday and the problems that you're going to have tomorrow. And you need that rush of adrenaline and in your body. And then you need that rush of cortisol, which is the stress hormone through your body. And you are feeling it a lot. And you're again predicting your future because you had a stressful day yesterday. So let's make this day stressful again. And quite frankly, we're doing this unconsciously. And this is a loop that you're going to go all and over again. So what is the unknown? The unknown is when we become nobody, when we become no time, when we become no thing, we become no space. And then you're in the unknown. And this is the moment when you are not making your past to be your future, but you are making the presence, you are into a presence, and then you start creating your future how you want to be. And obviously, you know very well, if we get rid of those negative attachments with the past memories, we can create a better versions from ourselves. In fact, we can create any version of ourselves that we want to be. And we have to be, or we choose to be. So the unknown is very uncomfortable for us because it's unknown, because we cannot predict the future. Because imagine how uncomfortable it is if you have had a habit in the morning to wake up and first thing in the morning to put the coffee on the table and to have a cigarette. And you wake up one day and you don't have coffee and you don't have cigarettes at home. How that affects person? Many people, they are going to freak out. I don't have cigarettes. I don't have coffee. They think their life is going to be changed. They'll freak out, running to the supermarket. They are going to buy what needs to be done. They will come back. They will be late for work, but they need to have what have been known already, because this is the way how they're going to predict the future. The moment when you learn to overcome this, and when you learn to be present in the moment and present in the unknown, where the creation lies, and where the creation the all infinite possibilities are in the quantum field of possibilities, then you create. And then I will tell you something. The unknown never betrayed me. The unknown never disappointed me. The unknown, it was something that whenever I step in, I know something good will come. Even though it was terrifying at the beginning. It was terrifying.
Can you give us an example? Because I remember very well, like you were one of the first coaches when we did our training to really hit the ground, as they say, hit the ground running from day one. Like when we finished, you immediately jumped into everything the very next day and you started applying yourself and applying the knowledge that you have. I've put a very interesting post that people think knowledge is power, which is absolutely right. However, knowledge is only power when you are able to apply it, when you are able to practice it, when you are able to preach it or practice what you preach, as they say, when you are able to share it. Because this is, I think, what Robert, our trainer, was always telling us, like, let's go out there to the world and share whatever we know. Because if you don't do that, that means you don't really know what you know or what you think you know.
It is, if you say you know it, but you don't do it, trust me, you don't know it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the moment when you're coaching and helping other people with something that you have learned, you're coaching and helping yourself at the same time. You're meeting different people. You're meeting different problems. You're
learning yourself. Yes.
You're learning. And the best part is everything that we have learned, we are reaffirming to ourselves. And with any change, with any change we see in a client, our confidence builds up and we believe even more into it. And the moment it becomes into the last quadrant of knowledge, which is, I don't know what I know, because you adopt it so much, it goes directly in your unconscious level. So you don't know what you know, but you know that it feels good. And then you keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. I have been a person that I have been hungry for knowledge all my life, to learn something new, to do something new. And this is because I have understood that one of the biggest reasons for happiness and happy life is constant progress. Constant progress. If we talk about scientifically, every new information that you're going to learn today, it creates 1,300 another neurological connections in your brain. While you're doing this, while those neurological connections are getting created, it uses certain type of energy, and that type of energy gives you that boost of a good feeling. And when you have that good feeling, so learning a new process, having a progress in anything, do one extra push-up today than you were doing yesterday. You feel great. Read another book this week that you haven't done it before. You learn great. Learn about another law of the physics that you didn't care about it, and then you know that you can apply it. You feel great. So all that process and the journey of getting new informations, knowing, learning, and progressing is what defines the happiness in a human being. So I didn't know that, but I knew that I was feeling good when I learned something new. So I have been driven like that since I was a kid, and that's why I was getting involved in many other activities out of school. So I have been a professional athlete for 20 years. For 20 years, 15 years I was competing for the national team of Macedonia. I learned to play guitar. I learned to play piano. I was involved in a radio amateur section. I learned electronics. I was very curious about science, especially biology, chemistry, and physics. Then I stepped into journalism. Then I was learning about journalism. From journalism, I started learning about politics, about crime beat, about many other things. This is only because I had that need. I need to have an extra information in my head. I need to have another additional knowledge. And in my head, in that moment, it was like, I need to know many areas in my life, because if I sit down on a table with a different type of people, I need to have ability to have a conversation and discussion with them. Which actually, that was my justification why I'm obsessed with getting knowledge. But actually, it was my source of happiness. getting getting better in any field in our lives. So
Excellent.
I would say the knowledge, getting knowledge all the time, it cannot be contradictory or to be with negative side effects anyhow. Even though if it's a negative knowledge, even though it's a negative learning, because that learning actually it's a lesson, and that lesson will going to serve us later on.
Exactly, exactly. And I think you're absolutely right. And the fact that you mentioned earlier that we tend, because if 95% of our behavior, as we know, is autopilot, is unconscious. So as you quite rightly mentioned, we keep 70, as Dr. Joe Dispenza said, 80 to 90%, or people tend to have 80 to 90% of their thoughts happening every day. Like the same thoughts are going to recur every day, which makes things predictable in the future. Although they always say, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I cannot predict my future. Whereas unconsciously, they are doing exactly the same things day in, day out. That means they are not learning much. Their knowledge, their knowledge, it's what they know. We know what we know, and maybe they are comfortable being there, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. However, as we said, and we will tap into the next section of how can we actually acquire new knowledge. And I think we started talking about that. It's doing something, a slight activity, a slight piece of information, maybe doing it differently on a single day that you haven't done the day before. It could be, we're not saying that you need to change everything overnight. No. But as you said, we can do one additional push-up, maybe, which will make us feel good. We can read a couple of pages from a certain book. We can even watch a movie that we haven't, maybe something that we have not done for quite some time. It is doing something new or having a new kind of experience that brings you joy, and it brings you happiness, and it brings you satisfaction, because at the end of the day, we're either growing, as we know, or we're dying. If we're not growing, we are definitely dying. There's nothing in between. And the nature of this universe, the nature of creation, God has created us in a way that we need to grow. That we have, this is the nature. If we remain the same, everything around us is changing. Everything around us is growing anyway. So it's either we need, as you said, we need to make that decision. Nobody is going to make it for us. We need to make that decision of continuing our journey towards growth, and that means acquiring new knowledge, and that means using the knowledge that we have, I think, in the right direction and in the right way. But having said that, now, how do we actually do that? If you can give us an example in your, and I know you've done fantastically well, and I really applaud you for that. You became, I think, amongst the group of the graduates of RSCI March 2020, a role model, really, where you took yourself and you applied yourself, as I said, immediately, and you used that knowledge that you have, and you learned some new knowledge and focused on a certain area which you felt you can really help in, and it has proven, and you now have the results to prove it. That means you know what you know.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And just to say hi to Beth. Yes, you too, Beth. You too.
Hello, Beth. Hello. Let's say a quick hello before we continue to everybody who joined us. I think we've got a lot of people now online. Saran Donova joined. Beth is with us. Rudaina, my lovely wife, is here as well. And Luan, my little boy, is also online. And I'd like to say hello to Rahil Mir, to Ahmed Al-Sayyid. Thank you for joining us. Dennis Milavsky, thank you for joining us. Foodwo9, Ghadi Zuyud, thank you for joining us. Some of the names who you and I are very familiar with from March 2020. Rania Jadallah, thank you. Hala Hindash, thank you, dear, for joining us. Lovely to see you. Learn Francesca, thank you for joining us. Michelle Farah and Sasinka, Noheila, thank you for joining. Indrit, Dubai, and Boban, and lots of others. I'm sorry if I've missed anyone, But thank you everybody for joining us, and back to Bogdan now with our last section to do with how can we acquire new knowledge and how do we really apply it to achieve success.
Okay, well, depends what we are going to consider as a success. In us as a human beings, we have a different model of our world, and for some people, success is one thing. For some people, success is other thing. But to achieve success in any area in your life, obviously, you will need to have certain type of knowledge and to start applying it. It's not about how you will apply it, but how much you're going to learn from the mistakes that you're going to do during that journey.
Very true.
Because nothing that is written on a paper and nothing that have been transferred as a knowledge from you, it stays there as it is, because it doesn't apply to every single person like it is. Then you will need to adjust your type of your style. Then you will need to adjust your way of working and in your knowledge with the person that you are working with, or you're coaching with, or you're dealing with, or you're talking with, or you're communicating it, in order to have a successful communication that you're going to deliver the message that you want to send. So it's more or less, I would say, it is a process of adjustment to the person that is sitting opposite of you. And in my case, I guess I was brave enough and ambitious enough. I overcame my fears of am I ready or I'm not ready. What I did, this was something that I have learned from Tony Robbins before. It's called the RPM method, right? He says it's one RPM method. It's his first R stands from results. So you need to know your outcome. What do you want to achieve from what you do it? Outcome. Then P stands for purpose. Why do you want this? Why you really want it? Because it's a very strong force through your success, right? So that's very strong. So why do you know it? It's not about what do you want, it's why do you want that? That is going to drive you forward. And M stands for massive action. So results, purpose, and massive action. And I was the guy that I already knew what I wanted in my life and why I want it. And then I took a massive action. It wasn't an easy path. It was stepping into the unknown. It was stepping into something that I never faced before. But quite frankly, I had a lot of good people around me. I learned a lot. We were communicating at the beginning a lot, if you can remember, if you can recall. So we were communicating
Yes.
a lot, and we were having this because we were still somehow afraid, and we were not sure what we know or what we don't know in that moment. But I pick up a pair of balls, like they said, and I was like, I'm going into it. No matter what, I cannot lose anything. I can just gain more knowledge. And that's how it happened. And pivoting through the coaching, then I realized that actually sales is something that absolutely every single person needs. Sales is a skill that absolutely everyone needs. Including many of the coaches.
Yeah.
Including many of the coaches. Sales is actually, that is the most crucial part. You can have leads, you can have referrals. People are going to refer, let's say, clients to you, or to buy something from you, or to buy a service from you. People can send you, but if you don't build that trust with that person, no matter that it was referred, then you're not going to be able to sell it. So, so I realized that the sales is a very, very, very strong niche that everyone needs help with. So what did
and as you mentioned, it's not, when we say sales, it's not only about sales managers or sales people or people who work in sales. As you mentioned, we are ourselves. Everybody on this planet, I think, is doing some sort of selling every single day, one way or another.
Sales is all around us. You need to sell yourself to the person that is interviewing you to get a job.
Yes.
You need to sell yourself to your friends to convince them to go out with you, even if they don't want in that moment.
Yeah.
You need to sell that venue. Why do you really want to go there? Maybe you have a reason you want to see your crush there in that venue, and your friends really, really don't want to go in that venue. So you need to sell that venue to them, right? So they come to use one or another way. Then, as I said, you need to sell yourself to to your wife to take the control remote to put your channel on TV. Sales is all around us. Sales have a very negative understanding from the commercial world, because someone is trying to sell me a product. We are receiving sales calls every single day, and people are trying to pitch us with their products most of the time, and it's really have built a bad reputation. But sales is absolutely everywhere. And trust me, for the sales professionals and sales representatives, there is one rule. If you want never to be broke, learn sales. And it's absolutely true. No matter which industry you are in, the moment when you know sales, you have a job. You can have a part-time, you can have full-time, it can be commission-based sales process. It can be on a small basic, but a bonus later on. And you can sell in network marketing. You can sell in automobile industry. You can sell in any industry. Everyone is looking for a good sales representatives. The moment when you become good in sales, there is no back. There is no back. So I'll give you one example. You mentioned about some of the clients. There is a client of mine that is from California. He's from California, and he was a beginner in real estate, business. Okay, so through some of my advertisements that I have placed in US, he reached out to me, and we made a deal he agreed to be one of my clients to start coaching him about sales. He was working in real estate for 4 months, and he haven't closed any deal. So he didn't close any deal. And then I needed to discover what is the sales process that he is doing.
He was following.
In order to know what needs to be changed and what needs to be improved, and where are the mistakes, because that's what we're looking for, the mistakes, right? We're not looking for if we don't realize the mistakes, we cannot implement anything new. So the whole process was going back and forth. I made a complete profile of him, like a personality profile, and then he was straight in multiple companies, and his sales process was a sales process that was invented in 1920. In 1920s, it was super outdated process. It's outdated process that doesn't apply now. Now, every customer, every consumer, every prospect is 3 times more educated, 3 times more careful, 3 times more understandable. And the worst part is if you're using outdated sales methods or pitches or whatever, or objections handling and all this la land thing, right? If you use it that is outdated, you are most probably repeating something that someone else said to the same prospect. So you look repetitive. You look like a salesperson. You look like someone just want to drop a product or a service in front of their eyes and build and make some cash. So then we needed to go through a completely different process. He's still under the mentoring, and in the first 2 weeks, when we started implementing neuro-emotional persuasive questioning, he closed 4 units with $1.4 million worth, and he has 2% of. So and he has a 2% of commission out of it. So 2% out of $1 million is 200,000 in dollars. So quite a good income for
someone who's only been there for 4 months. Yes.
For 2 weeks, which means that it gives you the potential of sales. Well, my niche is mostly real estate agents, insurance agents, mortgage agents, but the sales process is more or less the same, just need to be adjusted to the market. The market. So why is upgraded, and why is this new? Why is this 7-figure selling method completely different than the outdated method? I will give you one sample. How do you feel when someone calls you today? And I'm sure that in the last week you received at least 2 calls here in Dubai.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Talal. This is Karen, and I just want to ask you if you're interested to buy this and this from us.
Sorry, I'm not interested. That's it.
I don't, or they will tell you, here is this and this and this. Do you have 5 minutes for me? You know that they want to sell you. You say like, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Even though if you're not on a meeting, you don't want to be sold, right? You don't want to be
Yeah.
sold. And then no, I don't want. The outdated method, it was people buy from people they like. Now it is people buy from people they trust.
Yeah.
So in order to sell a product or a service or whatever, you need first to build a trust with that person. How you build a trust with that person? You need to act like a buyer and not like a seller. That's the secret of absolutely everything. You need to act like a buyer and not like a seller, which is something that is very, very important for every salesperson to understand. But let's say, Talal, you have a coaching company, right? And you don't know who am I. And I give you a call. Let's role play a little bit, right? So I give you like, hello, Talal. This is Bogdan. I was just wondering, can you help me out for a moment?
Yes,
And
sure. How can I help you?
well, I'm not really sure that you can help me at this moment, but I was just checking, and I was just curious to check in your system if you have any possibility of losing sales in your coaching business. And uh, what type of lead generation system are you using right now? So you don't I don't sell straight away. I'm gonna ask you what is your system right now in the moment, right? So I will ask you the system and I will ask you why do you like it and what you don't like it and where is the gap, what it can be improved in order for you to understand what is the problem and in order for me to understand can I really help you.
Yeah,
That's very important. For I will going to be asking you questions just to understand can I really help you.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
in that moment, you are acting like a buyer and not like a seller. And then the trust is built. Then the trust is getting built because you're not actually pitching anything. You're not doing any presentation. You're just being very genuine in discovering the situation of your prospect that is there. And everyone, absolutely, I mean, 99% of the people will continue the conversation. I'm not going to go to the whole sales process right now in the moment, but you continue that conversation. And then the best part of this type of selling, which NLP has a massive input in it. NLP has a massive input in it, especially when you discover their buying pattern. Are they visual? Are they kinesthetic? Are they auditory? How what is their pattern in this part? How do they buy a house? How do they buy the car? What they like? Do they like to see first or to feel first or whatsoever? So NLP has a big influence inside of it, and in that you actually don't even have objection at the end because people they already realize that they have a problem, that they have something that needs to be fixed, and they trust you enough that you can help them in order to overcome that and to improve their revenue, to improve their income, to improve everything that they wanted to improve. Objections are most of the time prevented, and there is no objection, old school objection handling, like this pushy way of objection handling. And for example, someone says like, I don't have money, and then you just go very hard. What do you mean? You don't have money for the product, or you don't trust the product, and you become even more pushy, and you become more pushy. When you become more pushy, people are getting back. They refuse you. They get scared because people want to buy, but people doesn't want to be sold. Human beings want to buy, but they don't want to be sold. Very simple. It's in our human nature. It's very easy. We understand this part. And now people buy by emotions, not by
Exactly.
logic. By emotion. So the moment when you have built a trust, the moment when you sound and you look trustworthy, and the moment when you actually help them to discover a problem they have, and you have the cure for it, you have a cure for their pain, there will not going to be objection. Even if there is objection, that's not going to be objection. It will be a little complaint that you can help them overcome it easily later on. So this applies absolutely in every industry because it's new method. new method of sales process that every salesperson, everyone that is selling something needs to get into it and really to learn it. It's very important.
Exactly.
It's a life-changing method. It's a life-changing method. Everything that we have learned from before, I have been reading books from the biggest sales people from 40s, 60s, 70s, but it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't apply. It's not the same. And
Yeah.
from the same time, when you know sales, that sales process will going to help your marketing as well, because marketing is part of a sales as well. What is your offer?
Excellent.
What is your hook? How you attract the people? Which language you want to use? That's a sales as well. I know that
Exactly.
there are two separated things, but they're very close linked. That sales is a part of a marketing as well. And yeah, so that knowledge that I have been gaining throughout all these years, and after that were upgraded from understanding myself, understanding the other people a little bit, understanding the other people a little bit more, and then how I was educated and skilled through our courses with Robert and absolutely everything, and then I continued developing my skills. It created like very simple and super powerful, effective sales model that it can be implemented everywhere. And I'm really looking forward to shock the world with it, to spread it around
Excellent.
absolutely, to spread it around absolutely everywhere, because I want to see smiles on people's faces. And 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 one of my mentors, one of my business mentors told me, and it's that's very true. He told me, "Do you want to make a lot of money?" And I was like, "Yes." "Do you know how to make a lot of money?" And I was like, "How?" "When you help your client to make a lot of money, then is going to be. Do you want to be happy? Yes. Then you need to make your client be happy."
Happy. Exactly.
That is the goal. Do you want to be peaceful? Yes. Help your client to be peaceful. You will be peaceful. And but at the end, everything goes back to our choice. Do we want to step in the unknown? Do we want to step in the fear, get out of our comfort zone, get some amount of money, pay someone to teach us, to train us, to get us better, or we're just gonna stay where we are because maybe we have doubts that we're gonna fail? Because I don't believe in failure either. I don't believe in
Yes.
failure either, because failure is you cannot fail until you give up. So if you never give up, you never failed.
Exactly. It's our choice. I think the choice is with us. We are the ones who make the choice, and as we know, based on the choices that we make, we get to the results that we get to at the end of the day. So that was a fantastic chit chat, Bogdan. I think we're coming to the end of our of this amazing chat. Thank you very much for your time. I'm gonna go around and do a little bit of hello at the end for everybody who joined us. Harmonizing Thoughts, thank you for joining us. Pradeep and DJ Styles, Amr, Yasser Al Fahid, thank you for joining us. Intersar Top, thank you for joining us. For IPZ, Fancy Mind, Fatima Magar, thank you for joining. Goran Narovsky, I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for joining us. Ivan Yordanov, thank you for joining us. I think these are your fans, Bogdan, or your friends. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. Orange Prince and Sarandonova. Beth is still with us, and everybody whom we mentioned before. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Everybody who is interested in becoming a top salesperson, and I'm not talking about a profession of being a salesman or a sales manager, whatever you are selling, whatever product you are selling, this is the man to go to. He is Mr. Bogdan Micov, my guest today. He has an amazing Facebook page. I love his posts because everything that he puts there is so insightful, is so valuable. But we ran out of time. I was going to let Micov go through I love this post, by the way, which are I think the 6 traps that almost all salespeople fall in, or they do not apply, or they apply actually these and they fall into that trap over and over again. But do check out Bogdan's Facebook page, and it's all there, and he explained it all. So he is the go-to person. He is the go-to coach that you need to head to. I'm going to obviously put his contact, not his contact details, but his Facebook page and his Instagram link under this video, which I'm going to post immediately after this live session when we close with Bogdan. Thank you, Bogdan, Micov, a lot for this amazing session. I think it was great. It was insightful. Everybody who missed it, you will find this video in T-Junction Show on my grid immediately now. I'm going to post it as of immediately, so you can actually catch it there. And please keep following me on Facebook, on Instagram, T-Junction Show, and on YouTube now. I'm on YouTube, so this episode is going straight, will be uploaded to YouTube as well. Any final words, Bogdan?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity and for the invitation to be part of your show. First, it was my pleasure. And it was a pleasure to see you. I hope I will see you in person very soon, because we are not on a different planet. You know that, right? And
definitely. We can meet more freely now. It's not quarantine anymore.
It's a little bit sad that we are limited with time. Because it is a little bit more broad subject that we can talk and share our experiences and our knowledge with the rest of the people. Anyhow, yes. Whoever needs something, they can reach out to you, they can reach out to me.
Exactly.
Something additional, and there is not a problem. Once again, Talal, it was a great experience to be part of your show. It was you're doing amazingly well. You're doing amazingly well, and all of your guests are pretty amazing. Some of the shows I don't understand because they're on Arabic.
Yes.
but that's amazingly good, because also there is a lot of Arabic speakers that are around to your circle and that are going to get a lot of value from your whole program around. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your time. And again, as you mentioned, there is an Arabic IGTV live tomorrow also about knowledge for the Arabic viewers. I'm going to be having Mr. Ali Khairuddin, who is a producer and a director, and he also loves this topic a lot, and he has a lot to share with us. Thank you, everybody, once again. Bogdan, thank you again for your time. Thank you, everybody who were with us online. Don't forget to like, share, comment on these posts or on this video and the others video that are on T-Junction Show. Thank you very much for your time, and this video will be posted straight away so everybody can see it. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye for now.